Hello everyone, you are welcome to Ordained Radio TV, and today is another edition of Verses and Voices. And we bring to you as usual a poetic rendition from ages where thrones were carved from covenants and kings conversed with flames. Today briefly we are talking about a monarch who was born from the breath of weight of Rome, where temples choked on forgotten incense and voice of prophecy. The people remembered gods that did not answer, and altars groaned beneath the rot of tradition. But he, a sovereign, flame-veined conviction, sheltered the bronze images with hands trembling from awe rather than age. He did not wage war with sword or scepter, but with reform. The sacred scroll which he brought his battle plan from, and the purge of ancestral fields is triumph, where high places once climbed towards dead heavens. He raised them to dust. Yet in all his reforms he was not lauded by nations, but summoned by vultures who mocked his small dominion and dared him to summon a god they believed had long gone silent. So when wolves gathered beyond the gate, he did not summon captains. He summoned silence. He turned his back to man and faced the wall, whispering his prayer silently with the tongue of dust and covenant. And God answered not with thunder, but with reversal. Songs spun backwards. Time itself stumbled. Angels moved beneath the veil, and death, once reaching from him with skeletal resolve, was driven back by the tear of a king. Yet the same hand that tore down idols opened vaults to flatterers. In the extension of his days came to the testing of his marrow. The pride he once struck down with the sword of obedience returned, cloaked in the silks of foreign diplomacy. What he hid from the gods of wood and stone, he unveiled to men clothed in ambition. And so this tale etched in metaphor and flame is not merely of triumph, but of tension between faith and flaw, between grace and governance, between a king who once knelt and the man who once forgot to. So throned amid the lion's bone and embarked scrolls of Judah's dogs, he rose a glided sheer into Eli's jaw, unbending iron touched. His breath defied ancestral ghosts, whose altars cracked with moss. He shattered brass serpents of the age, though once a cure for loss. He strode where incense was once rebelled beneath the dome of sighs, and tore the veil of compromise from prophets who followed Christ. The ash of yesteryear he swept courts of burnt deceit, and kindled hymns in molten gold beneath his cleansing feet. The north wind howled through Nineveh, her claws poised over the south, and messengers with ashen tongues poured venom into their mouth. Yet stood he like an ancient oak, roots tangled in the stars. While nations trembled in their breaths and idols unsheathed their scars, from wolfish king beyond the dust came boasts in thunderstorm. Who dares denies the king's scourge? Let Judah's God now come. But he, the monarch, carved in psalms, no sword nor shield did he lift. He turned his tent to parchment skies and poured a silent gift. The walls, like stone-clad sentinels, had heard the choir of dread, but in the hush of midnight's robe, an unseen angel bled. 100 score of armored limbs laid and cold without a flame, and lo, the beast of east withdrew uncrowned and lost to name. Yet even sons must drink their grief when flesh begins to rot, and clay-born kings must plead with time to lengthen what it ought. A boy, a mere defiant dot, became the tyrant bell, and silence crept through places, halls like whispers out of hell. upon his bed of iron rule, he flung his soul like fire. With tears that struck the vault of God and scorched the angel's life, the heavens turned, the orb reversed, the star of ours wept. Time knelt beside the mortal cry, and in that cry it slept. The fig's dark balm was crushed to paste and pressed on dying skin, and flesh once near the grave's cold lips rose flushed with breath again. The clock unwound its golden ropes and danced backward in song, while destiny rewrote its tread where mortal hands belong. But even lords of twilight's grace must learn the weight of pride. From a land of molten steel became eyes both wide and wide, and lo, the vaults of sacred gold, the temple's veined height, the beard ants of future, chains and shadows veiled in light. O man, who conquers kingdom vast and yet reveals his gate, what use are years extended tries if hubris shapes thy fate? He lived, he shone, he wept, he fell, he then climbed again the pyre, the candle kissed by heaven's breath, yet drawn to earth's desire. Thus speak the winds through cedar limbs, the faithful are but dust. But even the dust, if kissed by God, defies the worm and rust. Hezekiah, veiled in verse, now sleeps beneath the choir, a mortal crowned with paradox, a clay-made burning lyre. Trust not in sinew, nor the spear, nor temple's gold encrusted, for kingdoms built on fleeting pride are graves the wind has dusted. But hearts that bend like twilight, but bows beneath the weight of prayer, shall find the silence of the skies ignite with the guarded care. O learn, the crown is not a shield where ego bears its skin, and time, though gifted, is a flame that turns both saint and sin. Let wisdom guard the latter breath as fiercely as the first, for even those who angels save may die of deeper thirst. At this point we draw the curtain on verses and voices. See you next time. I know your host, Ebenezer. God bless you.